Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Comics That Influence Jake and I. My
Hey.
name is Kurt. Jake
Mhm.
and I working on Turbo Pit Fighter, the making of, which we're on to I don't know, episode 50 something or whatever. But we just wanted to do these breakout episodes where we just share some of the independent books that influence us. I've got some Love and Rockets, and Jake today has some Antarctica Press. Jake, how you feeling? And why don't you just go ahead and jump into what you got?
Feeling all right. Yeah, I'm jumping in here. Comics that influence. Sometimes I'm just kind of like opening up comics and doing the Geraldo's Vault thing where I haven't even looked at it myself. But I'm showing this today because Antarctic Press is a company that's been around since 1985 or 84. Founded by a guy named Ben Dunn and his brother Joe Dunn, who was the publisher. They've been around, so that's a long time. It's like 39 years. Uh, their biggest hit might be like Ninja High School and Warrior Nun Areala. There's some mention about it being on Netflix. So I don't know if that came to fruition, but they're all creator owned, and they believe in creator owned series for better or worse, and they're based down in San Antonio, and they've been putting out stuff. I mean, I remember seeing this name when we were doing it, as a very small press, and they still have a website now. They're still cranking stuff out. They have something out right now called Gold Diggers that's been in print for a long time. A
I
very
used to collect those.
Yeah,
I'll
and
admit it. Yeah, when they first came out, I loved the style. I love the feeling of it all. Oh yeah,
I
that
mean
was
it's
a
like
great
I think
title.
it's manga-ish, but it's also like
Yeah,
anthropomorphic, right?
yeah.
You can
Great
go on,
energy.
you can go
Great
on right
energy as a
now.
book.
I'll also plug they have a series called Punchline. Um, I don't know if that's supposed to be kind of like inspired by Sucker Punch. They have some kind of like I don't know, looks like a Harley Quinn type of a character, maybe a little bit superhero-ish y. But they still have some offerings. I don't know how old these guys are at this point, if they've been, when they started, but in my crates, in my boxes, I've found these four Antarctic Press comics that I had, and Shotgun Mary is a character that was a kind of I guess a spin-off or a side character from some of these Warrior Nun things that they have. So here's Warrior Nun, real quick, black and white. This is from '97, but it goes way before that. This is actually the first series of Shotgun Mary, the first volume that came out in '95. And this might not be too special today, but when you think about this in '95, this cover, this is completely, computer, generated computer
Rendered.
graphics. The whole thing inside, this is very early, computer colored, I guess, or
Wow.
assisted comic. It's kind of sparse. I'm just going to show this one quick and then jump into the better one. But it's full color here and a lot of kind of like effects and filters and stuff. Very dark. Um, the story is this character here, this biker chick, and there's a lot of kind of like demonic elements in the story. You might recognize this font whiz bang. Here
Hmm.
there's like this, priest guy. Here you can see they're using the blurring effects. This was all a big deal back then,
Yeah.
'95. And there's some value here. Like, there's a lot of here on the page. I wouldn't say, there's too much like standing around. Some dialogue. So there was this character, Shotgun Mary, and if I'm plugging the creators, it was written by Herb Mallet, and this was illustrated by Joseph White, with pinup art by MPC, Sean Howell, Pat Kelly, Fred Perry. These are
Jake, can you move to the right? Can you pull over to the right?
like this.
Keep going.
Oh, you
Keep
want to see
going.
the double page spread? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So here,
See that?
yeah, this I think is like a crossover pinup that goes between both. So if I take the contents out, you can kind of see this is, you don't see
Ah,
this too much because you have to destroy your comic if you want to hang this up on the
yeah,
wall. But
yeah.
you know, so there's this kind of, style, and I think, she is maybe like, she's got the cross here, so maybe she's one of these warrior nun characters that jumped off into her own thing. She's blowing, I mean, this is kind of cool. She's blowing the brains out of this demon guy. He's got water bugs all over him. Um, and just to flip through this one quickly, here she is out on the road. Maybe they're overusing this filter too much. Hold on a sec. Yeah, so very I guess, like, color themed pages, very dark, a little cartoony here and there, but this is, I think, the first issue of Shotgun Mary. It's got this gritty kind of noir feel for Jill's Diner here. And I'm just gonna, is it okay if I just stay right in the middle of the
Yeah,
spread?
yeah. Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
Thank you.
so she's Shotgun Mary, as the name implies. She's got her guns. There's a little story. She's after this guy. Here we go, and we got some more demonic rituals all set up. You can see there's a sacrifice happening here. Here comes the demon, and it just says to be continued. So this was Shotgun Mary, number 1 of 3, and this little team of the writer Herb Mallet and Joseph White. Some pinups in the back, and you can see this is really dated, kind of like coloring, right? This was like line art that they go in and Photoshop. I remember doing this myself, and then you go back in and put the line art in. But if you look real closely, the line art is probably only like 300 DPI, or so it's kind of got this real cartoony like outline to it. It isn't like modeled like these pages here. Like, these are very modeled. They don't have like cartoony outlines, dark outlines. So a couple of different styles here. This is Pat Kelly, and these are some of the guys on their team or their friends doing these pinups. Here's just like a real cartoony one. This looks like it's influenced by John Kricfalusi, right? If you see the Ren and Stimpy
Yeah,
cover
yeah,
letter.
yeah.
And then they just threw in like this psychedelic background. You could even see how they're patching it together. So this is what comics were like in the 90s, right? Everyone's like,
This is
wow.
late '90s.
Yeah, well, this is 95. But it's like
Oh wow, mid '90s.
computer
Wow.
coloring. You get these kind of fades and blends. You use the toning, the dodging and burning tools, and get the toning. And here's one more. This one's a little cooler. And they're fighting
Get to that
demons.
ESAD. Get to that ESAD book.
Right, exactly. So these are like spin-offs, and here's the other Antarctic offerings. Like, these are Nun comics. This is the Crimson Nun, and I think they had some relative success with this. I remember seeing these books, and I picked this one up finally. So this is 97. They're still, putting out. This is a couple years later. They're still putting out the Warrior Nun, the Crimson Nun. And I just want to flip through these. These are just this one's a black and white. This was a little action
Oh,
packed.
that looks nice.
Yeah, war. And so, this caught my eye because we are going to have a scene in our comic Turbo Pit Fighter where the nuns are going to have this big battle with the soldiers. And so I was looking, so I pick these up to see, I don't know, maybe there's any cool reference I can get, some ideas. It's always good to see like nuns fighting. That's always fun. Um, Then we get to 97. And so this is a new series. This is number 1. I don't know of how many. I think there was only 2 because I checked online, but that might just be, what a couple of sites are selling. So here we're getting in some really good art. And this is another, we pointed this out with some of those other like Cheesecake comics that stuck around and then like finally found a good artist. If you have a good character and you hang in there, you can really make some good comics. Esad T. Riblick is the artist, and the story is now Miki Horvatic, um, with translation by Darko Makan and Tanya Jambrisak. So I think these are like some overseas folks making this and then bringing it over. But the character, they said this was creator owned. So I don't know if these guys were just guns for hire, but here in '97, it's still published by Ben Dunn with Joe Dunn as the CEO. Editor in chief is Herb Mallet, so now he's the editor. He's not doing the scripting. But look how cool the art is here. Now this is really great because as soon as I saw this, I just thought of Mel Gibson and Road Warrior. This is a cool character, all in black. We don't know what the storyline is yet. She's out here in the desert. There's these mountains. This reminds me of a lot of kind of like heavy metal and Epic magazine stuff.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
interesting colors. You don't know how they got there. There might even be, this could just be painted, but there might be some airbrush. There might be some computer stuff. But here we go.
Move to the right, Jake. Move it to the right.
Like this?
Center it, center it, center it. Yeah, go. Yeah. Just to the
Yeah.
left a little.
So here we go. There's somebody on her tail. She's still got this dramatic pose. She's all bloody, so she's been involved in some fisticuffs already. I think we're bouncing around the timeline here. We have this encounter. This is great layout here with the silhouette. We got this biker standoff here. There's some bikers here. They're doing the tats. This is '97, so they're pretty early for all these like full sleeve tat ideas. They're in these roadside bars. Everything's real dusty. I think the paper this is done on. They might be revealing the paper this is done on, but they're kind of like fading in this smoke. You can see the texture of the paper. This might be that like watercolor paper. Here she's in the hotel room. She's nursing her wounds. You got the shadowy shades here, so that always brings in elements of noir. She's all spread out here. You can see her ample assets. Nice lighting here. Some of these colors are really interesting. And then next thing you know, boom, we're into some action here. This is great. This is really like photo reference, like up the underside of a motorcycle. And
That's pretty wicked.
Yeah, it's a good one right here.
Yeah.
It kind of hurts it for me when they use like Helvetica in the middle of all this, right? Or Ariel, right? I hate that, but other than that, pretty good. Now we're gonna see some ass-kicking violence here, and I think these are just like fully painted, or maybe like watercolor pages that they just add.
Yeah, if I can interject, he did a run on Conan. And then now he's been, I think Thor. I think these are two of his bigger titles, but he's been around for a while. This, I think, is one of his first entry points into the Western market, United States market, excuse me.
Right.
But I've been following him for the last couple of years for the handling of his materials. Definitely multimedia. Airbrush watercolor. I think the watercolor is predominantly what he's going for, but he's doing a lot of layering. So there's a real dimensionality without losing the comic book quality, if you will. So yeah. Great find. I like his work a lot.
Yeah, I'm on the lookout for number 2 of this, if that's all there is. Here, so you like Dirty Harry Punk? Do you feel lucky, Punk? Oh Jesus, don't take his name in vain. So this is definitely a photo reference, right? So he's got models that are running through this, or else he's looking at like some movie or something. She's got the sample, whatever she's looking for. She's got this thing in a jar. This is cool. This is good. This is action packed. Next scene here, she's riding towards the city. I guess this is not much of a post-apocalyptic hellscape. All the lights are still on. She's in this gritty city here. All these. This looks like L.A. All these characters here. So we're getting into some dialogue, and she's trafficking in this thing. It looks like maybe a heart or something. And yeah, so a couple of noir elements, but also really colorful. Some good camera angles here. This is a great shot.
He
She looks like,
reminds me of like John Bolton.
yeah, I just came across a John Bolton. I might do that in another episode, but I only have one John
Yeah,
Bolton. I have like a best of
yeah.
John Bolton. This is going to be a lot against the little here. She's taking on a whole gang of dudes. Cool stuff. They this is kind of awkward when they blow up the font real big. I don't know about that. That's why I like hand drawn fonts, because then you could just make it
Because he's
outline right.
yelling.
Yeah, I'll kill you, bitch. She dispatches them, and she's smoking her stogie here. Look at this. This reminds me a little bit of Corbin, right? This is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
he really understands lighting and color.
Yeah, I hope
The
I'm
two
doing it justice.
together.
I might be getting like a little glare here, but if
You're
you look,
getting a lot of glare.
yeah, if you look carefully here, it's nice. The dual lighting coming from different directions underneath. And just to wrap this up, so this looks like a good issue 1, and really good reboot
I agree.
of this character. So who knows? Maybe one day it'll get a Netflix series or something. But
If
that's it.
only one could hope.
And this is some cool stuff. You got some guys crucified here. Again with the interesting color palette. There's these foreground elements, these real lights and darks. Very good. I like that. If you see real close, the character looks a little bit Frazetta-ish there, a little bit like Death Dealer maybe.
Yeah, great stuff.
And we're still going here. Now she's got a crossbow. She gets the guy right in the eye. Kind of like nice dimensional stuff here. And then I think she only got him angry, turned him into a demon. So now he's growing, and she's still going. She's going to shoot him again in the leg. I guess he blasts her with some kind of hellfire, and she's crumpled on the ground with the fire coming up off of her. Yeah, these smoke effects really bring out the texture of the paper, which you don't notice otherwise.
Yeah.
And then look who shows up here, but a nun. What's this? I don't know. Maybe this is like hallucinations or something. Flashback. Oh, he's turning into like lots of different characters. Maybe he can like shapeshift. She was just kind of playing possum here. She sticks the knife in his neck, and then we're off and running here. She gets back up with her Uzis and trying to blast him. The guy goes sky high, and turns to some kind of winged demon and skull, and here she goes off into the sunset. Very cool. So this is really like magazine quality, like heavy metal quality stuff in a comic.
Yeah.
So this is a good little output here for Antarctic Press. Still small company out of San Antonio, creator owned, and an ad for Areala, Warrior Nun. She's still going strong here in '97. The leather edition. So you got some leather nuns. And then here's our back cover here. It's just I guess this is the high school thing. Oh no, they call it Silver Cross, but it looks like ninja high school characters. And here's the back covers from some of the other stuff. Warrior Nun Areola. This looks really Japanese manga-ish. This one has a Shotgun Mary action figure. How about that?
There you go, merchandising.
Too small to read all this stuff, but what is that worth now?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
And then here's just all your back issues. So that is my report on some Antarctic. Look out for back issues if you can find these, and I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for number 2 of this edition. Of course, if I found the other ones on this one, I'd pick them up anyway. But that's just me. So
Well, I'm
now,
heading to a show on Saturday, this
uh,
coming Saturday. So I will put it on my list because hopefully they have two copies because I might
pick
want to
it
get
up.
into that as well. So yeah, great share, great share. I am
Yep.
today sharing a free comic book day for the Hernandez brothers, Love and Rockets, which if you're into black and white indies, this is like one of the Trinity. R. Crumb, right? It's R. Crumb, Hernandez brothers, and who would be the third? What to think about that? But this is from 2009, Free Comic Book
Okay.
Day. And I actually got this as a packing my shipping for another book, which I'm probably going to share next week. So
Okay.
I don't want to say that I'm a huge aficionado on Love and Rockets. I will tell you this, that when I was in high school, one of my favorite bands was Love and Rockets. One of my
Okay.
favorite albums is Daniel Ash's Tones on Tails. I'm also showing my gothic music influential background. Um, I would pick Love and Rockets up here and there. I do have to say I have definitely grown into Love and Rockets because of Archie comics.
Yeah.
So I've been getting into the Archie comic thing because of other comics that have been influencing me because it's just become a big talk about how well the storytelling is done in those comics. And when you do read them, just as a nerdy comic book maker, they read very, very well. Now,
So you have some weird formatting there. Those look like they were scrunched down for comic format, right? Was that
yeah, because
was it
they usually do the book size with Fantagraphics, but this is a free comic book thing, so this
right?
is definitely it's going to be in a collection, so this is free for free comic book day, so they're just
A lot of
reusing.
black and white on that one.
Yeah, yeah. It is disappointing, but at the same time, I thought for the price of admission and shipping and handling, I would just pick it up. But when I was reading it, I was like, wow, man, this is really good. And once again, the what Archie brought to comics, Al Hartley and Dan DeCarlo being the major players in making those. So, the Hernandez brothers were very connected to those comics, and then brought an L.A. punk kind of feeling to it, as well as their own Latino heritage and background. Um, but
Yep.
like Crumb, Robert and his brother Charles, them being into the funny animal comics and making their own comics. Um, uh, there's just undeniable excellent storytelling going on. So um, I'll admit, back in the 80s, I was more in the chasing of underground black and white ninja and uh, silliness in that kind of way comics. But more importantly, the Europeans, Mobius, Heavy Metal Magazine, Richard Corbin, just that kind of material. So it just never came into my radar as something. But as I've grown and matured as a comic book creator, um, you can't get enough in the way of learning proper, paneling and thing. But my thing about their work um, is the way they handle spotting black, or just the graphic composition of leading your eyes with black in these panels, and obviously this linear quality uh,
Yeah.
for um, for that. But I really, really dig this.
Yeah.
So
If I can jump in, so
yeah.
the Hernandez brothers, what they bring to the table is it's like it's like grown up Archie, right?
Oh yeah.
The thing about Archie was, you have these great character designs. They were simple and they were so repeatable, right? And so, whatever exploits they would get into, it would be these like really kind of like accessible, friendly faces. And the Hernandez brothers have a version of that. They have their own faces, but they're kind of simplified, maybe cartoonized a little bit. And then they get into all these adult themes, right? I mean, you could see that like some of these women are really stacked and shapely and stuff. And it's the stuff that the storylines are a lot more adult. um, and then they're black and white, so you do have this influence. These guys were contemporaries of Charles Burns and Dan Close and Peter Bagg, right? And all those guys who had to make black and white just as interesting as color. And but as far as the Archie sensibility, they bring, you mentioned it, and then it just clicked. I don't know what it is, but it really is like maybe the pacing or the kind of like straightforward presentation, right? There isn't too many like weird angles, and it's a good
No,
combination of
I
dialogue and,
I
and art.
think the thing about it is there's a bare bones um, composition there. You look at I just randomly opened this up to hopefully get to an example, but if you kind of just squint and just look at let's say the black shapes first, and then just kind of watch how things jump and then move your eye there. But then you just deal with the six panels now, and then you obviously have these putting together, but it's still, you know, working.
Right.
It's undeniably cord in factual, let's just say golden age established comic book plotting. But the linear quality then would be that next place where, and then the sky getting hatched, and there's an ultra sense of care put into it. But I believe that Al Hartley and Dan DeCarlo for Archie did the same thing. Yeah, the mature thing I think is another layer, but then at the same point, it's just still dealing with like a drama, some kind of thing that has happened in the town and between a boy and a girl and
Yeah.
a young person and their parents, these kind of tropey things and stuff. But you know, as we're working on our material, to maintain a healthy critical eye of what's a good pacing thing, you can always just fall back to the basics. And to me, this is just basics. So whether I am or am not a huge Hernandez brothers fan and following them and getting everything, I really don't care. What I really care is having something I can reach over and pick out, which I did for today. And this was
Yeah.
just so happened on the top because it came in the mail, and I had read it. Um, it's just it's solid. It's so solid that it makes my mind get down to the basics. So
Yeah.
I think people should, if you're making a
And we
comic,
can.
you've got to own at least one Hernandez brother comic. And why shouldn't it not be a free one?
Yeah. And there's something, there's also something as art teacher, that as far as using your spotted blacks to lead the eye.
Hmm.
A lot of times an artist will just lay it out in pencil and then ink it, and then you got to decide, okay, what am I going to color in black? And there's no shading here, right? It's either
No.
all or nothing here.
Yep.
So when you're doing that, you really want to lead the eye. I mean, maybe even in manga, it's even more pronounced, because in manga it's meant to be like, much faster reading, right? And in Western
Yes.
comics we kind of slow down. But if you look at, like, if you squint, there's always kind of like this Z in on every page where the blacks
Yes.
will lead the eye, right? And it was a great example of that page that you had open for a while there. But because this was the one I pointed out was pretty heavy black. But yeah, like this one, just like squint back. Yeah, thanks. That's what I wanted you to do. Yeah, you
I
always have
read your
this like
mind.
you always have this Z thing, going on, and it's good, for people to be aware of that. And I think the Hernandez brothers at this point are just like subconsciously doing it, but you, if you're just, starting out, do it consciously, like, and even when it comes to like a splash page or a pinup, you know, have in your mind intentionally, like, what do you want the person to look at first, and then what do you want them to go next, and where do you want to lead them around. Some people have like this triangle theory, and some people want to lead them all around, like, and as you get smaller and smaller into detail, some people use shading for this, some people use color for it, but it's a really important thing to keep in mind.
And staying on the educators tip, one of my number one go-tos was the KISS method. In other words, keep it simple,
Simple,
silly.
dude.
We used to
Dude,
say
yeah.
stupid, but well, I upgraded to silly. And the six panel grid with a 10 by 15 on 11 by 17 piece of paper, and that Z. So
Right.
if my student is getting frustrated with something, it's most definitely in the beginning, it's all about like, oh, my character doesn't look right, or it's not cool enough, or I wanted more of an expression. Like, it's always those details, which everybody runs to. I'm at fault with it too. I get excited about something, I lay something in really super quick, and then I start laying, then I back up and I go, crap, man, I barely have any basics supporting this whole thing together. So when we get back and we just look at keeping it simple, silly, it's undeniable. The glitz of it, if that's what you want to call this, helps sell the book. Oh, I really like Archie. Oh, I really like, this quality of,
Format.
so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
undeniably, they're superior storytellers in the comic book medium. And it's really what it was why I wanted to share this on our channel, is a healthy reminder to all those that are making comics with us on this channel. If you're getting frustrated, please reach back, grab yourself either a R. Crumb, a Hernandez brothers, either Jaime or Hernandez or Gilbert,
Gilbert, yeah.
and then you also have the Archies. So if you're out box diving at a show, try to pick up some of the old stuff. Look for Al Hartley and Dan DiCarlo, because that's definitely what has influenced the Hernandez brothers
Yeah.
in that, and geek out. So
Right, and
so yeah,
people don't know maybe that Dan DiCarlo also had a secret career doing some more spicy stuff too.
love it.
Um, yeah, something, and under his own name. When I saw
Yeah.
that you had Love and Rockets, I grabbed this out of my box because I just have this lying around. But here's an example where he actually has a muscular character. This is
Oh
kind of
wow.
superhero ishy. Like this one is like really buxom. This is the skinny one, the lipstick one, but
Yeah.
this one has got like some really built arms, and I don't know if these are recurring characters or if this was just a one off. But oh yeah, this is two of three. But just what you're talking about, like real Archie ish. The faces, the repeatability, great stuff. I always wonder like what these guys are worth because they've really lasted in the comic business,
Yeah. Heck yeah.
decades and decades. And
Heck yeah.
but they really haven't jumped off into like the movies and TV like, Frank Miller or somebody like that. So you wonder like, I mean, they're as good as it gets in the comic industry.
Absolutely.
But how good is that? Like, do these guys have like mansions, or are they still living in apartments? Like, I'm curious about that too, because I want to be hopeful, that they're doing great, that they're really like got a lot of money. And, if you have a bunch of graphic novels out and they're in print and they just keep selling, you just keep getting those residuals. And, you would love to hear that, that there's a market out there for people to, I love this, for people, to really be successful. These are very talented guys, and if they're not, seeing success, then what hope is there for anybody else?
Right.
So
All right.
good
Well, we're
stuff.
keeping these down at the 35-minute mark, and we're just coming up on it. So success by us. Um, Thank you for joining us in another episode of those comic books that influenced. If you have any books that you would like us to take a look into, leave them in the comments below. And when they come across our radar, then there's a good chance that we will. But other than that, Jake, I want to let these good people get back to reading comics, making them if that's what they're doing. And then until then, I will see you next Sunday. Do you have anything on the out?
No, sounds good. Good episode, man.
All right. See you later.
Later, boss.